What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'll break down some big news that came out that's helping the market cap up so far, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, as far as the market's going, I just want to mention that Tesla's gapped up quite well this morning. However, the gap up is not as strong relative to the move on Friday because Tesla was down 3% on Friday. We're only up about 1% in the pre-market, which is still not too bad, but there is still a little bit more weakness in Tesla compared to the markets because the market gapped up and ran on Friday. And then today we gapped up again. And the question is, will we continue to break out? Whereas Tesla still is showing some signs of weakness, in my opinion, because we just gapped up a little bit. Now we're slowing down a little bit as time goes on. So I'm going to break down why Tesla's a little bit more lackluster and what news came out that's very big and what you should be watching for the share price. There's some big news that came out that officials from the US and China have once again set the framework for President Trump and President Xi Jinping's meeting that's going to be happening in just a couple of days for us to have a massive trade deal. The trade deal could be delaying the tariffs that were supposed to be set on China, and simultaneously, it could once again delay the export controls on the rare earth materials. That was some very, very important news, alongside China buying more soybeans from the US and many different products. And simultaneously, this deal could be very, very huge for both the trading partners. So, with the framework that's being set right now and the fact that tensions are dropping, the market is in a very, very euphoric state right now. There's a lot of buyers who are stepping in. And the question is, can we continue to run or not? If this is fully priced in or not, we're going to be watching this very closely. On top of this, President Trump has also been visiting lots of countries in Asia, and they have been pledging lots of trade deals, which is some more good news. If you look at the 19% trade tariff rates between the US and Malaysia, we have 20% duties from Vietnam, and the list goes on. There's been more trade deals coming out. This is also more optimistic for markets. I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy in the news this morning other than that. However, for Tesla, I think part of the reason why Tesla's a little bit weaker is because there's been lots of headlines about how there have been some recalls. For example, we've seen certain 2025 Model 3s and 2026 Model Ys having some faulty battery connections, which caused them to lose power, which is not the best of news. But once again, this is going to be a real recall that Tesla has been working on. It's affecting about 13,000 vehicles, and they are once again going to replace the battery pack contactors, starting I think right now, and Tesla will do that for free for their buyers, basically. So that's important news. But I think part of the reason why Tesla's a little bit lackluster is this news belongs to the NHTSA investigations I was talking about. That's why Tesla's not like gapping up, 2-3% trying to run. It's only up like 1%, but now it's kind of like trading sideways. Besides that, when it comes to earnings, keep in mind tomorrow we have SoFi and PayPal. Then we have big tech earnings on Wednesday and Thursday. For news that's coming out for today, we just got the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index that's supposed to be coming out at 10:30 a.m. At 11:30 a.m., we have the 2-year note auction, the 6-month bill auction also coming out. So not too much significant data for the day. So the question is, what's going to happen from this point on? Well, if Tesla manages to hold above that 440 area, we're going to have the potential to push higher for essentially 442.5 or above. If we're bearish, however, we're looking for this big gap down here all the way down towards 433. If we get some kind of rug pull and if we fail at 438, I'm looking for 436 on Tesla. We're going to see if that holds. If 438 fails us, watch for 436. And if those both fail us, we're looking for that gap fill back down to 433. Now, I presume that just like the markets, there's a lot of euphoria, but Tesla's going to likely see a little bit of a chop like this. And unless we get back above 440, this does look a little bit dippy. It might be retesting 438 to 436, and we'll see if we bounce off those levels. But there is a risk of Tesla declining a little bit, looking at how it's projecting to some extent. We're going to see if 438 holds or not, but overall expect some chop in this range, and there is a risk of a slight decline if Tesla cannot get back above 440. SPY, on the other hand, looks a little bit stronger in the pre-market. We gapped up much bigger, but I would be careful because of of this peak euphoria. Now, if we hold above 683, we're looking for an attempt for 685. Okay. But if we lose 600 and I'd say 680 flat, then I do expect us to come back down to fill this gap if we lose the 680. So that's your range 680 to 683. I do think we kind of consolidate for some time. We do look a little bit stronger in the pre-market, so we're pushing a little bit and we do favor upside a little bit more, but I would still be very careful and cautious with this because of the peak euphoria that still exists. I do expect a lot of chop and some consolidation for some time, and then we're going to see if we end up breaking below 680 to be bearish or not, but we might be going a bit higher for now for 683 to 685 temporarily. Same thing with the QQQ. Now, the QQQ also has this big gap. We haven't fully filled this. We need to essentially lose this 621 area to be a little bit more bearish to fill the gap to 617. If we break past 625, we're looking for a big push higher. So we're going to be looking for 626. Then we're going to see if we consolidate as time goes on as we try to go a bit higher. It does look like it wants to climb a bit higher with this wick that formed here, and also because we're pushing in the pre-market. So 626 plus is very possible, and I do expect some chop at the same time. Then we're going to see if we turn or not as time goes on. That's going to be another big factor, so keep that in mind. For the IWM, we look more bullish. If we end up losing support right here at this 250 area, we're looking for this gap fill down here at 249. But if we end up breaking past 2.5, 2.5, we're looking for a big push higher. As of right now, we're favoring the upwards direction a little bit more, looking for 253. And we're going to see if we turn off that or not. But for now, we do favor upside on the IWM, at least for the time being. On ES, we're technically on an uptrend. Now, if we could break past, 6,900, looking for more targets like 6910, 6925. If we break past 6860, we could be tipping back down to fill the gap. As of right now, we're consolidating. It does look like we want to go closer to like 6,900 for a little bit more upside on ES temporarily. And then we're going to see if we reject. But for now, the charts do look a little bit more in favor of bulls. Same thing with NQ. We're just looking more vertical. Unless we lose 25,700, we're favoring 25,900 right now as we're trying to push a bit higher. Then we're going to see if we end up losing 25,700 to fill this gap below. But as of right now, we're consolidating and slowly pushing higher. On Bitcoin, we kind of pumped and dipped a little bit. So we're going to see if we could hold above 115,500, or if we lose 114,800, we could be going either way. Might dip a little bit for 114,500. We'll see what happens after that. For Tesla, once again, we're gapping up. We're going to see if we hold above these levels. Might retest 438. We need to hold that. If not, 436 could be coming. And as you could tell, Tesla's not like kind of like gapping and going like SPY in the QQQ. This morning, it kind of gapped up, but now it's slowing down a little bit. So it does look a little bit more lackluster as of right now. But watch your levels just to be safe. On Nvda, the same thing is going on. We're kind of gapping and going, especially because this news is bigger for chip stocks. So we're looking to see if 190 holds. If so, we're looking for 192 to continue this pump. On Aapl, we need to see this essentially lose 264 to fill this gap below. Otherwise, we're consolidating, and 268 becomes possible. I could see 266 and 268 if that breaks. On AMD, we're looking a bit more bullish, favoring 262. So long as we don't lose 265. Coinbase gapped up, and now it's kind of like at 362. We need to hold above this. If not, there's that gap at 355. So it's showing a little bit of weakness. Amazon looks more bullish. As long as you don't lose 226, we're going to be favoring 230 as our target. It looks a bit more bullish. Meta, as long as you don't lose 744, we're going to be favoring 750 to 752. Google looks more bullish. As long as we don't end up losing essentially 262, we're going to be favoring 266 or above. And then Microsoft is also going to be favoring 532 or above. I think there is some upside potential here. Finally, the VIX is gapping down pretty hard as well, right? We've come back down to this lower gap area, and it's still weak. Unless it gets back above the 16s, it's still favoring a lot of weakness. For now, the market is looking like it wants to gap and go. That's what SPY and the QQQ are favoring. Whereas Tesla is kind of like gapping up, but it's not really pumping a whole lot. It's kind of just gapping up and consolidating here. You can see we got this big red bar, and we are barely holding 438 right now. If it doesn't hold, Tesla could dip a little bit. So Tesla's a little bit lackluster compared to SPY and the QQQ, likely because of all this negative news involving their recalls. So it is what it is, guys. But with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. This is your update for now, and I'll be back in a couple of hours to give you guys another update. Until then, watch your levels, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you for listening, and peace out.